My name is WhiteDove, the WhaleKeeper for the Wabanaki Nations here in the northeast of the United States and eastern Canada. Remember, the Wabanaki Nations include the Passamaquoddy Nation, the Penobscot Nation, the Maliseet Nation, and the Micmac Nations. And all four nations are working hard at preserving their cultures and their nationhood. And all four Wabanaki Nations have their own languages, their own cultures, their own worldviews, their own life ways, where they keep their ceremonies alive, their songs, their stories. The Wabanaki Nations have been preserving their way of life and their cultures for thousands of years here in this part of the world, through storytelling, through songs, through ceremonies, through the arts, in many ways. In fact, at the Abbe Museum in Bar Harbor, Maine, if you visit there, you can see a lot of the arts, the basket making, and a lot of the arts that the Wabanaki peoples have been making for thousands of years. Right up to the present day, the Wabanaki Nations are still making birch bark canoes. They're still doing beautiful basket making, fancy baskets, and practical baskets like for potato picking up in northern Maine. As the WhaleKeeper for the Wabanaki Nations, I write poetry and I do poetry readings. I write stories and do storytelling, and I play flute, among many different things. And today, in this video, I would like to share some of my whale songs with you. Way, 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 and away, yeah, yeah. In a way, away, in a way, yeah. In a way, in a way, in a way, hey, way, hey. Way, 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 in a way, yeah. In a way, hey, in a way, hey, in a way, in a way, in a way, hey, way, hey, way, hey, way, hey. In a way, hey, way, in a way, in a way, in a way, hi, way, hi, in a way, hey, way, hey, way, So the Wabanaki Nations are the people of the Dawn Land. Wabanaki means the first peoples to see the sun, the peoples of the Dawn Land. And the Wabanaki peoples are Wabanaki Nations in their own right. The Wabanaki tribes, Passamaquoddy, Penobscot, Maliseet, Micmac, they are each nations in their own right, because they have their own culture, their own language, their own worldview, their own life ways, and they've been practicing this way of life for thousands of years. These languages have been spoken for thousands of years, and these life ways have been practiced for thousands of years. And the Wabanaki peoples have their own common history for thousands of years. Each of their nations has a spirit all its own. They are nations in their own right, the Wabanaki Nations. They are also called the Wabanaki Confederacy because the four nations work together so that they have a stronger alliance that way. If you visit the Abbe Museum in Bar Harbor, Maine, there you can receive a tour. There's an archaeological section at the Abbe Museum to show you that the Wabanaki Nations have had a strong presence here for thousands of years in northeastern United States and eastern Canada. At the Abbe Museum, you may see a birch bark canoe, you may see some birch bark baskets, beautiful artwork on these birch bark baskets. You'll see many different arts and crafts, very carefully handcrafted by peoples from the Wabanaki Nations. At the Abbe Museum, you'll also see a lot of the artwork with the double curves. The Wabanaki Nations do a lot of different double curve designs and incorporate that into their artwork. You'll see books even, books that have been written, stories written by Wabanaki peoples. You'll see books of the Wabanaki languages at the Abbe Museum. You'll see Wabanaki writers. And all of these arts are cultural ways to keep the culture alive and to transmit it to the future generations. The Wabanaki Nations are keeping their culture alive for the future generations so that they also have a strong identity of who they are. The Wabanaki peoples live in the state of Maine, here in the United States. They live in New Brunswick, Canada. They live in Quebec, Canada. So the Wabanaki Nations have a strong presence in this part of the world for thousands of years, and they still do. The Abbe Museum is open year-round in Bar Harbor, and anyone can become a member of the Abbe Museum. Membership allows you to visit as many times as you want during the year and to attend many of their presentations and workshops. There are always educational and entertaining workshops going on. The Wabanaki peoples always are active at the Abbe Museum, demonstrating their ways of life, how to make baskets and so forth. And the Wabanaki peoples go to the Abbe Museum oftentimes to do their storytelling and their drumming, singing, flute playing, and just to intermingle with visitors. So if you get a chance to visit the Abbe Museum, and even better yet, become a member of the Abbe Museum, you'll find your own cultural awakening there. You'll enjoy seeing another point of view, another perspective, another world view. The Abbe Museum sits in the beautiful village of Bar Harbor on Mount Desert Island here in the state of Maine, and Mount Desert Island, of course, is the home of beautiful Acadia National Park. And I want to share with you a poem that I wrote called The Acadian Dream, and in my published book titled Poetry of Wabanaki Country, Down East Maine. And I have many poems in here that speak of the culture here in Down East Maine and the Wabanaki culture as well. And some of my poetry is in both French and English. Okay, here it is, The Acadian Dream. I live the Acadian dream with Acadia National Park sitting in my backyard along a winding stream. Be it fall, winter, summer, or spring, I meet people from places near and far, touring the island by bus or car, trailed by hungry seagulls that sing. Winter brings ice skating the park's frozen ponds, skiing the carriage roads at dawn, then hot chocolate by the fire, what more could one desire? Winter solstice opens doors to a winter wonderland that's yours, from snow-covered shores, docked dinghies and oars, to snow-covered mountains and cliffs, so much to explore, all of nature's gifts, the seagulls that soar, and thunder hole that roars. I live where the mountains meet the sea, plenty to do for you and me. At Jordan Pond we have popovers and tea, after cycling carriage roads with great glee. Mornings I walk the shore path, evenings the trail to Sand Beach, where I indulge in a saltwater bath after days at the place where I teach. Island winters invite quiet meditation and the time for deep contemplation, with thoughts about land conservation, protecting nature for the future generations. And that's the Acadian dream. So I would like to finish with maybe one or two more whale songs. Thank you for listening to my whale songs. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you at the Abbe Museum in the beautiful village of Bar Harbor, at the foothills of Acadia National Park, and beautiful Mount Desert Island. Thank you. Willie Wan. Merci beaucoup. In the way, in the way,